comic books, movies, TV, and more. Nerds are everywhere. It's time to assemble! It's Nerds United.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to a brand new Nerds United Live on YouTube and Facebook. I'm your host, Greg Mahochko. Joining me, as always, he's the reigning and defending, undefeated and undisputed co-host of the year. He is Mike Luther. Hello, sir.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. I was panicking at the last minute because I was like, what happened to my stack of comics that we're going to talk about?
Fair, yes.
And I got them, so we're
good.
We're good. Welcome to 2025, my friend.
Yes, yeah. 2025 seems. It seriously seems like 2020 was literally just yesterday.
I feel like 2020 was yesterday.
It
I
might
also
have been.
don't want to relive 2020.
True.
I mean, 2020 did give. And this is going to come out like worse than intended, but it did bring about the conception of my twins. You know,
fair, yes. I was speaking of like decades and stuff like that and years, and not realizing how long something has been. I was driving around with a friend of mine, and her kids mentioned something about, and I forget what it was, but something about the 70s or 70 something being like close to 50 years ago or something like that. And we were like, no. I was like, that doesn't make any sense. I was like, the 80s were 20 years ago.
That's right.
We were like, I think your math is off. I don't understand it.
That math ain't mathing.
No.
No. So you know this, and I know this, and some of our viewers / listeners may know this. But we graduated together.
That is true.
And if we actually had reunions, we would be coming up this spring would be our 25th reunion, 25th anniversary of our graduation. So
I don't think we're going to have another reunion.
Is that because they were so poorly attended?
I think so. Well, nobody is planning on them that I know of. And maybe they are. I just don't know about it. I guess you don't know about them either.
I wasn't. I would never have been in the group that got invited anyway. So
I would have been. I wouldn't have been directly invited. I would have been invited through somebody else.
I would have had to hear about it from you.
Yeah.
Someone, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I'm not in the cool kid club to hear about that. Highlander is here. Fred is here. Highlander said, "Hey, Fred, Greg, and Mike." So
hello.
Fred is ahead of it. Billed ahead of us, and he's not even on the show. But Highlander says that his 40th was last year, 40th high school reunion. So I don't remember. So my dad went to Belleville West. He graduated from West. And I remember I was 10 and he went to his 20-year reunion. And I remember that specifically because he came back with a can coolie that says, like Belleville Township High School West, 20th reunion, whatever. But more importantly, I remember that was the night I almost got my nose broken by my babysitter.
Interesting story. Do tell.
So it was, if I remember correctly, it was like it was we were being double babysat. I don't know. It was weird because my sister at the time was 13, so it's not like she needed a babysitter. And I guess my parents were like, well, it was sisters who came over. But anyway, I remember at one point, I don't know if I got scared about something or got pissed off. I was 10, who knows, or just about 10, I guess. And I went running out of the living room, and the one babysitter like grabbed my arm to like stop me, and like stopped my arm, but not the rest of my body. And so I went like a pivot and went face first into the wall.
Okay.
Yeah. So fun story. One of those babysitters ended up being one of our teachers in high school.
Oh, I think I remember you telling me about that. Yeah, I knew who that is. I think was it? I'm not going to say the name. Not that it matters. Nobody listens.
English teacher.
But there's two English teachers in the thing. But it starts with an H or starts with an M.
H.
Okay. I know she has a different name now.
Oh.
I think she married or something.
No, that was H was her married name.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
By the way, her older sister, who was like my OG babysitter from way back in the day, that's my first crush, dude. Like legit.
Fair, yeah.
I remember, it would being, I don't know, like 5-6 years old, and she was probably in 8th grade at the time, and she would tuck me in and give me like a little kiss on the forehead. I was like,
well, we're getting married soon, I guess.
That's how it all started. No.
Yep. Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know how school. Speaking of school, we didn't have much of it this past week in my house. We had one day yesterday, not even a Friday off, but Garrett and Robert were supposed to go back to school on Tuesday. They had full 2 weeks for Christmas break.
Yep.
Monday was a teacher in service or whatever, and so they're supposed to go back to school on Tuesday. Nope, winter weather, canceled that. Thought maybe Wednesday. Nope, winter weather. So they bummed around with me on Wednesday. I had to go out to the office. They went with me, so they went back to school yesterday.
Okay,
and then we got the prediction or the forecast for 2 to 4 inches of snow that we're going to start this morning, and so they got another day home. So
no e-learning, just off. Okay,
no, just off. In fact, the email said, go out and make snow angels and make memories and have fun, and we'll see you. Whatever the next day is, or
were you like, look, we've been having fun these last 2 weeks.
I was like, look, I'm about funned out.
Yeah, you can only have so much fun.
Like, I'm paying for this school, by God. I want them to get into it. So, but anyway, so I'm ready for Monday. Ready to get back into my routine.
Yeah.
I have a meeting in the office on Monday. We were supposed to have this past Monday, but because of the wet weather and guys coming down from like Effingham and Peoria, like maybe that's not the best idea. So I'm ready for Monday. Get back to the office, get into the routine, do my job, make that money. So,
yeah.
Let's see here. Oh, we got all kinds of folks here. Aaron Rostovsky says, "Sup, nerds?" That's us.
Indeed.
He's another one of the Thursday night Coronation gang. Fred says, Greg casually recalling how he got CTE. I don't know about CTE, but again, probably
could have been.
We'll never know. I mean, and then Aaron Keene says 2 to 4 inches of snow is a snow day. Wow, it is. It was for extreme amount of caution, but we also had like ice underneath that. So
yeah.
I'm trying to figure out if I want to read this one.
Probably not.
My babysitter when I was 5 took me to the lake. We stopped at a store, and when we came out, a goat was in
the car.
Okay,
yeah.
Eating the steering wheel. Okay,
yeah.
That I was not sure where that was going. That's a hell of a babysitting story. A goat was eating the steering wheel.
Yeah.
And then Rostovsky says, first time listener, first time caller.
Okay, well, call Greg right now if you want.
And Josh says, "Ooh, Mike's got that winter coat on."
Mm-hmm.
Let's see that. Let's see that luscious mane.
I mean, it's hard to really appreciate it with all the grays. That's how big it is, but it's getting there. I was wanting to get a haircut just here earlier, but the haircut place was closed.
Oh,
so
for winter weather?
I assume so.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I'll get it tomorrow, maybe.
You think the barber will say, "Should we do something about that beard?"
100%.
Yeah,
100%. They'll go, "You want this, blah blah blah," and then I'll go, "Yeah," and then they'll go, "And are we trimming the beard?" And I'll go, "Not yet."
We're gonna keep the status quo.
I don't know if you noticed or not. It's still cold outside, so.
A couple weeks ago, I had a beard, and then I ended up shaving it because I was tired of it. It was a Christmas present to my mom because I went over there for New Year's and I shaved before going. So
number one, I'm sorry, Mom. I'm never going to shave a beard for you. 2, I still haven't given my mom her Christmas present yet. She's
been out of town though.
She was out of town during Christmas. and then she got back, and then it's just been like I haven't been able to get down there, and then the roads were bad and stuff. So it's still wrapped underneath my TV right now. But yeah, and then actually my sister called me today and said, she's like, hey, one of Dean or Eddie, I couldn't recognize the voice, wanted to thank me for the Christmas present because I gave them a gift card to, like, all three of them, a gift card to Great Wolf Lodge. And I was like, did you just now get it?
Nice.
And she's like, yeah. I was like, I said that, I want to say, it was past Christmas. I know that. But it was like, I want to say 28th, 29th, maybe 30th. I sent it, and they just now got it today. Yeah.
All I know about the USPS is my mom's older sister, so my aunt, obviously, her birthday's like a week after my mom's. Different year, obviously, but it's in March, and so mom sent the card in February, and as of June, it still had not arrived. I was like, oh man.
That's right. I now this isn't the post service, I don't think, but I've now twice tried to buy a vacuum because my vacuum I have here sucks, and not the way vacuums should suck. But I had oh my God, there was a super good deal at Walmart, but you had to buy it online. This was like a $240 vacuum for $70.
Oh,
it was amazing. Managed to get it in my cart, and they were going to send it to me. And then they were like, I want to say like a couple days later, they're like, yeah, we're actually out of stock on this. We're not sending you one. Then I go to Amazon, get another cheap one. I'd like one that has a really good deal on it. I want to say it was like 100 something, but normally it was like 200 and whatever, $90. It was supposed to come today. Then I got a thing from Amazon being like, it's delayed. It'll be there maybe on the 16th.
Garrett, for his birthday, got some Target gift cards and like an Amazon gift card. And like as soon as he got them, he wanted to go to Target. He's like, can we go to Target? Can we look at Amazon? I was like, buddy, like you just got these cards. We still have more Christmas to do. Like our Christmas in the household.
Right.
All Christmases and all your grandparents. You still got birthday, stuff. Let's pump the brakes. We can go. I mean, he was just itching to get out.
Of course. Yeah, so I get it.
I think it was last weekend, maybe before the snow. Ashley took him to Target and got, used some stuff, and they ordered some Amazon stuff, I think maybe Sunday or Monday. And it was supposed to arrive yesterday. And he kept asking every day, what's today? Because he knew it was supposed to arrive Thursday. So but he's not in school. So every day is a Saturday, right? So he would ask like on Tuesday, what day is today? I was like, it's Tuesday. Okay. I was like, are you asking about that stuff from it? Yeah. I said, oh. Like you got a room full of stuff to play, but I digress.
I get it though.
So yesterday comes and yesterday goes. It doesn't arrive. And I checked the status on Amazon because of the weather. It said it should be arriving by the 13th. I was like, sorry, buddy.
Yeah, that happens.
Well, let's jump into it here. We've had a couple of weeks, and I'll be honest with you, I've spent some time, in these last couple of weeks reading some comics. And my last trek to Twilight Comics, Swansea, Illinois, I had put in a request previously for the Absolute Superman.
Yes.
And so I think we talked last time about how I had Absolute Superman number 2. Mm-hmm. And so I went there and they had Absolute Superman number 3 and still no number 1 in the folder. And I happened to be looking at the shelf and I was like, back in print, Absolute Superman number 1. I said, all right, we're going to have to get that. So I'm all caught up on those, all caught up on Absolute Batmans, all caught up on Absolute Wonder Woman.
Okay.
Wonder Woman for sure. Or go ahead.
Are you enjoying the story so far?
I am. I am. They're definitely departures from the norm. I think you recognize that for sure in Batman when you read Absolute Batman. But they're still well written and engaging stories. I know for sure Wonder Woman, it says, in fact, I can tell you, he says with so much hope in his eyes. I don't know. Yeah, here we go. So the last Amazon. So this is for sure part 1 of 5.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'm not seeing such pages in the other ones.
Yeah.
But at least this, and maybe it's just the last Amazon arc being one of 5. But in Wonder Woman, I guess we'll kind of dive in there. So she's the last Amazon. She is the rightful princess of Themyscira, but the Amazons did something and pissed off the gods. And so she was basically banished, like sent to hell as an infant. Hades, hell, whatever. And she was raised by the witch Circe, who in Wonder Woman lore is a villain, and they are often at odds. So it's again a unique take, but you see her grow. She still meets Steve Trevor, who, spoiler, dies, and then you see as the story unfolds, the sacrifice that she makes to basically give him back his life. And then you find out that she returns to the surface or makes her way to the surface to save LA, San Francisco, one of the California coastal towns from monsters, and reunites with Steve Trevor there. So it's an engaging story. I mean, she still, she has Pegasus. They say, okay, the name of the city is Gateway City, but you can, it's California coastal town. Let's put it that. I'll show you this. I mean, I like the look. I don't know how well you can see that.
Yeah.
There we go. Get the glare off of it.
Oh, perfect.
So Pegasus in this case is like an undead.
Yes.
But she's armored up and still very much a badass and has that Amazonian physique. She's still taller than most of the men. So it's actually a fun take on the character. So I'm enjoying that. You're pretty well versed on at least some of the basics of Absolute Batman. What I've come to find out, I believe in issue 2, maybe it's in issue 1 they touch on it, but he is actually friends with most of what would in traditionally comics canon be his rogues. Like they have, he's playing cards with Edward Nygma and with Oswald Cobblepot.
I was gonna say I thought they mentioned him. He works out at Killer Croc's gym.
Right. So he's still on this crusade against the party animals. A lot of the stories being told through the point of view of Alfred, who is like a special forces. He's kind of stuck on this mission in Gotham. He's like, scratch my back, I'll scratch your back. But basically, I just want to get the hell out of Gotham. A lot of destruction, not too terribly discreet is this Batman. So I kind of like it. And then Superman, Absolute Superman, is pretty wild, if I'm being honest. Let's see if I can find. Nope, I'm out of order here. But different powers. A kind of artificial intelligence suit that kind of keeps him safe at times and protects him. Also, he can, like, his powers can, for lack of a better term, like run out, and so he has to recharge. It's a really interesting. So in this version, he is. He's not adopted by like the Kents, I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly. And his parents on Krypton were not elite scientists; they were working class. I'll say this, it is what it is. Comics have always had a I don't want to say like lean left. I'm not trying to be political, but there's some class warfare type of language in this particular story. But it's Jason Aaron. Jason Aaron's very notable comic book writer. What I do like about this, and I didn't think I would initially, is the cape is not a cloth cape. Like nothing about the suit is traditional. They call it, I believe, sunstone or something, and it's I think more like Spawn's cape. If you remember the Spawn movie from the 1990s, that kind of has a mind of its own, and can like protect him in a way. It's a little deviated from the norm, but not in a way that makes me not like the story. So again, similar to Absolute Batman, there's no signage in this that would indicate that it's 1 of 5, 1 of 8, anything like that. But you find young Superman is just he's going around. He's He's taking that blue collar mentality that he came to Earth with from Krypton, and he's going around helping out miners across the globe from the corporate fat cats, I guess. I don't know.
Okay, that's definitely an interesting take. I'm going to read it, but the Superman one, I'm the least looking forward to it.
Really? Maybe I'm not selling it then.
No. But I'm going to read it regardless, and I'll go with an open mind, or as best as I can. It's just, I don't know, the whole cape thing, and
Let's see if I.
But hey, look, here's the thing with the Absolute Batman. I don't know if you explained it or not. I can't remember, but I remember when I read it, it was better than I expected.
Oh, good.
In fact, it was really good. I'm looking forward to eventually getting Absolute Batman 2 and 3, maybe. I think we're both on this page. We'll read a couple of them and then wait.
Right. I'm trying to look. Let me see if I can. I'm trying to find like one frame in this. I probably got to go to Absolute Superman number 2. So, this might be the best. Do you like when I hold up the book and hide my face? It's really stunning. So, let's see here. I don't know. That's not doing any good.
I mean, look, I like the art.
It is very, very clean art. The artist is Rafa Sandoval. So, but you kind of see a little bit, maybe not. I don't know.
A little bit. I get it.
So it's there's like a voice inside the suit that he talks to, and that's good. We all need to have a little somebody we can talk to from time to time. That's will help us heal and
true
bring us happiness. And then the other thing that I've read, I am all done with. I think the last time we spoke, I said, "Oh yeah, it was a 4-parter," but then I saw the number 5 out there. What the heck? And that is Batman, Santa Claus, Silent Night Returns.
Yes.
So it is a 5-parter. I've read it. Okay. It just kind of makes you happy.
Right.
It's good action, but me, I'm a sucker for Christmas and all things, festive. So a little Batman, or I mean, more or less kind of like Justice League Dark. There's because there's Zatanna, there's Etrigan the Demon, and Jason Blood.
Okay.
There's Damian Wayne, there's Santa Claus, and Santa Claus's wife, Mrs. Claus, and other heroes. They go on Zatanna uses her magic to bring heroes to the fight that are not affected by, I don't know, whatever this evil knight is, can like program people to do, or do his bidding. So that's actually really cool. Like, oh, if only ever that easy for everybody. So it's fun story, a little five issue story there. And then the last thing that I read, and I wasn't sure that I'd have time to read it, but when you have an extra 3 days at home, and that is, I think we talked about this last time, Sandman.
Yeah.
And this, what I like about this is one of those golden or silver age characters, the Justice Society of America. This is before, it's a recent story. It's Dawn of DC. So I think it was done earlier this year, maybe late 2023. But Robert Venditti, who is solid. I mean, he's been with DC for a number of years. I know he did Green Lantern. He did Flash. He's done a lot. Those are just some of the ones that but Wesley Dodds, the Sandman, and it's a pretty wild story. It's a little detective, but again, it's period. It's set in the 1940s in Manhattan, or New York City. So I think it's 5 or 6 issues collected here, and then I'm not going to spoil it, but a little bit of that mobster type of big bosses and things like that. Sorry about that, printer. So, but honestly, just a fun read, and it was another one that I knocked out in a little over a day, without reading it constantly. So, all in all, I've had quite the last week and a half of getting some comics read.
Perfect. That's what I like to hear. Yeah, the that Silent Night one or whatever it was called. That one, I'm when you described that one, now I'm looking forward to that. I saw that at Heroic Adventures last time I was there. Almost picked it up. It's like I wasn't sure about it, but knowing who's all in it now, I know I have a gift card still at Heroic Adventures, so I might have to go down there sometime soon to get it if it's still there. What
have you read? If you've taken any time to read anything?
Only thing besides school books that I've read is I bought and finished 8 Billion Genies.
Oh, yes. I have an image of that too.
Yes. I think I gave you a blurry image though. Let's see. Let's find out.
I cleaned it up. Don't worry.
Oh, okay. Good. Perfect.
I just need a minute to upload it, so I apologize.
Yeah, no, that's quite all right.
Why don't you describe it to the good people?
Yeah. So I described it a little bit when I first bought it, and I said essentially what happens in the story is that all at once, everybody in the world gets a genie. Right. That's all I knew about the story. Reading it, that part is true. Yep, 8 billion genies right there. Everybody in the world gets a genie, and they all get one wish. Right. So you don't get your 3 wishes. You all get one wish. And I thought the story would be more of monkey's paw type of thing. You know, have you heard of that before?
Mm-mm.
Where it's okay, so it's like the genie tries to trick you, essentially.
Oh, I got you.
You say, okay, I want to be the tallest person.
I see.
And they make your legs 6 feet tall, you know, or something like that. They'll try to trick you in some way, you know.
I understand now.
Yeah, and but that's not what this is. They never try to trick anybody. But they're like, sometimes it's like if somebody says, okay, I want world peace, and another person says, no, I want world war, they just cancel each other out.
Oh, I got you.
You know, and then they do give it to everybody, but as far as like children go, they have to be old enough to kind of understand the language. But that is like, there's certain parts of it where it's like that might be 8 years old, you know. So, I mean, just imagine what Garrett might say, what his wish it might be or something. And it might be something, it probably, I want Legos or whatever, you know, and then boom, he gets Legos, you know. Once they have their wish.
Right now, he would want like the ultimate transforming Optimus Prime or something like that.
Yeah. You know, but at the end, that's I think that's for kids. And honestly, a lot of people, it's if you have time to think about it. Not even time, but if you give yourself time to think about it. Because a lot of people might go, I want $1 million. Maybe you got $1 million. But then again, if everybody has $1 million, it's like, it's nothing really, you know, everything just goes up. But it starts off that, and I'm not going to really spoil this because I think you will like it, but I'll give you a little bit more.
Aaron
hey,
is
all Legos.
Notorious.
That's fine. You can have all the Legos. And here's the thing with the story: so it starts off in this bar. And that's when, and it's like this little dive bar, and that's when all of a sudden, bam, the genies appear, and they appear right away, and then they're in the bar for a bit, and then they look outside, and there's complete chaos outside. Like some people are superheroes, some people wanted to be villains. Some people want to have a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Some people want to have a spaceship they fly around. So it's just like they look out, they're like, oh, our world's chaos now. And they have to kind of figure out what to do and like if they want to leave. Some people get wish locked, which is since they only have one wish,
right? They
don't know what to wish for.
Oh.
And they're afraid if I wish for this thing, then I can't wish for this other thing. And my wish, you have one wish and that's it. It's gone. You know?
I wonder if it, you know, like and don't tell me please, but you know, if some people if the general understanding is everybody knows that everybody else gets a wish, right? Is that
yes
okay? So like just out of spite, I would use my wish to be like, I want to take away Mike's wish.
You know what? I wonder, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think that directly happens, but I think there is a part where there's like a counter wish, where it's like somebody sets something up and they're like, hey, if anybody wishes something against me, counter that.
Interesting.
Yeah. But like I said, it's really good. Art is great in there. You don't see it there. I think I said this last time that it was completely wrapped up, like, you know, in the cover and everything, so you couldn't see the artwork inside. Luckily, it was good.
Good. I mean, that cover here is pretty. I mean, while like whatever looks like the genie, you know, from that art, the family, the people in the background it's pretty solid, pretty.
It
detailed.
is, yeah.
I'll say this, you know, as far as like the stuff that I read of, you know, of all of it, the Wonder Woman art was the most lackluster.
Oh, really?
It's not bad. It's just not my
style.
Yeah. It was fine. I'm sure a lot of people appreciate it. The story was good. The story kept me engaged. But you know, comic books are a visual medium. You know, and
yes.
But it's also so subjective. So I'm not out to be like that artist is shit or anything like that.
Right.
So, let's see. Fred says, I just wish for Nebraska football to win national titles forever and beat Miami, Notre Dame, Texas, and Colorado for most of them.
I think see that's the thing. Like, I think that they would do that wish, and then unless somebody says that, you know, I wish Texas would win all the time, and then they just get canceled. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I heard your rant about Texas yesterday.
I regret nothing.
No. By the way, you're not wrong. I was going to say that. By the way, I like Texas. There's a couple cities in Texas I like.
Like the one where your sister lives. That's fine.
Right, where she used to live, El Paso. That was a good one. Right. You know, but Texas, they're great at talking about how much they love Texas. That's their biggest thing.
Their biggest export is themselves.
Pretty much, yeah.
You're not wrong. They love talking about it. And I have a friend of mine who probably within the last year relocated to Texas.
Okay. And
all the bragging about on Facebook was like, Texas is the best. Oh, we love Texas. I'm like, you've been there for like 6 months.
Right. Yeah. It's probably just how it is. When you get there, it just happens.
Yeah. You adapt to Texas zip code and you become one of them.
Yeah.
So while we're talking about comics here, Aaron Keene says, I read a Punisher and a Lobo graphic novel this week. Pretty violent, which suits me.
I would assume those two would be violent.
Yeah. Fred says, Sheriff Lobo, sweet. And Aaron says, Fred. Surely you're aware of the last Zarnian. And Fred is. I'm just being facetious, he says. I hear Jason Momoa is going to play him because Hollywood is either Momoa or Pedro Pascal nowadays. And that's true. I don't know if we ever talked about that, but Jason Momoa is officially signed on as Lobo.
Which didn't surprise anybody. I mean, he is Lobo.
He's got that wild man mentality, which he brought to Aquaman.
Yeah.
I know it's a completely different universe, right? But what are your thoughts on just the quick turnaround of being one DC character to being another DC character?
I think it's fine. I don't think anybody's going to watch it and be like, "What? I thought he's not Aquaman. What?" Just because the last Aquaman movie was so poorly reviewed.
Do you think that was like the Amber Heard situation that kind of followed it around, or do you think it was the movie itself, or both?
There are three things, honestly. I think it was the Amber Heard a little bit. I think it was a little bit of the movie itself. And also I think it was because, and somebody else mentioned this on another podcast, so I'm stealing what they said, but they were right, and I don't know who they were. But they talked about how Marvel and DC has ingrained in us that we watch this movie and it connects to the next one. So there's going to be an end credit scene and we watch it and it's for the next thing. And people knew that that version of DC was ending. Right. So it's like, I guess you can just watch it, but no, this is it. And it's not going to have like a good conclusion. It's not going to be like, okay. So like if Endgame was the end of Marvel, that would be a good conclusion from 2008 to whenever that was, 2018 or something. 19 probably. 19. That would be a good conclusion, right? I'm glad they went on because there's Fantastic Four and all the other stuff I want to see.
I thought you would be like, because we got the Eternals.
finally, what everybody was waiting for. But it was just one of those that it's kind of like where sometimes, and this happens in the 80s and 90s and probably 2000s, where you're watching a sitcom and just ends.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. It's like, oh yeah, that we've got to tell you Home Improvement's not coming back or whatever. There's not this is our final one. And a lot of times they don't know, obviously,
right.
And they didn't when they were making Aquaman, more Aquaman or whatever it was called. I forget.
I like that, more Aquaman.
Yeah, they didn't know it either. I'm sure they would have done something differently. But yeah, I think that's what it was.
I don't disagree. I think it was the tripod of doom. For that project. And I think it's because it was at the end of, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't it the end of Blue Beetle that like the Justice League kind of came out, with the exception of like you didn't see Henry Cavill? Wasn't that Blue Beetle? Or was that Aquaman?
Or was it Peacemaker?
Peacemaker. That's right.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot.
Yeah.
But and then we have that too, because that is clearly a continuation when you have some of those other DCU characters.
So James Gunn talked about that. He says
maybe I missed that, or we talked about it, and I forgot. No.
He said that so Peacemaker season 1 is for the most part canon. He said he even jokingly said it's for the most part canon. He's like, definitely not the ending with Justice League.
Gotcha. Okay.
But then he did say that really nothing is canon until you hear it from like Creature Commandos on.
Okay.
So he said, I haven't watched more than one episode of Creature Commandos. I really need to get on that. But he said that in Creature Commandos, they'll mention something that happens in Peacemaker season 1. He goes, if they mention it, then it's canon. So he's kind of just slowly. It's hard when you're kind of merging into this world and to create your own world.
Yeah, that's good. I now that you mentioned that, I do remember. I think we probably talked about that before.
I don't remember. I know I saw a video for it. So who knows?
Perfect. Well, let's talk about a little bit more DC news. I guess more recent DC Max HBO news, and that is that earlier this week the Golden Globes took place, and Penguin, Colin Farrell, won a Golden Globe for his role as Penguin.
I did not know that.
Yeah, that was a thing that happened. I'd like to tell you more about it right after these messages. And these messages are the fact that I forgot to pull the link up previously. The 82nd Golden Globe Awards ceremony was this past week. A number of comic book, sci-fi, fantasy, and horror movies and TV shows were nominated. Only a few prevailed. Colin Farrell won Best Actor in an Anthology limited series or TV movie for his lead performance as Oz Cobb in The Penguin. And I didn't realize that his co-star, Christine Milioti, who, by the way, played the mother in How I Met Your Mother at the very end.
Should have been the true mother.
Right. Well, she was the true mother, just not how the show ended.
Yeah.
But she was also nominated for Best Actress in an Anthology. She lost out to Jodie Foster. Catherine Hahn was nominated for Best Performance by a Female Actor in a Television Series, Musical, or Comedy for Agatha All Along. Deadpool and Wolverine was nominated in the recently added Cinematic and Box Office Achievement category, along with Alien Romulus, Twisters, and Beetlejuice. But Wicked got the win there. But I still haven't watched Penguin.
Same.
And I think, like, look, I've seen the Batman. I liked the Batman. I don't go back and watch the Batman. I don't know why. Like, I always think about all the Marvel movies I go back and watch, but the Batman has been out now for 2 years, I think. And I've only seen it the one time in the theaters. But I still just cannot wrap my head around the fact that Colin Farrell on the left plays Ozcob, or the Penguin, on the right. Like, such a well done prosthetic and makeup. And I can't help but think, if we have prosthetics and makeup to make him look like that, there should be some prosthetics or makeup to make me look better, like reverse prosthetics, like the skinny looking prosthetics.
I think it's just called exercise.
That's not what I wanted to hear.
I mean, look, I need it too. So,
but that is just so wild. And I know he has talked about, how it's just the process of the prosthetics and things like that. It's kudos to him. I mean, anybody who's putting in that, I don't say like that, I don't say effort, but I mean, it's a process to sit there and probably have to do 3 hours of makeup and things like that.
Sure, at least. Yeah.
At least. So,
yeah.
Good on him. Aaron King says it's a great series. It's definitely, I need to give it a shot. I need to do that. Creature Commandos. Well, I'll get there eventually. But I want to make sure that we gave Colin Farrell his flowers for that Golden Globe win.
Congrats. He is now allowed to be on the show if he wants.
That's right. That was the one thing. Like,
you want to be
on this show, you better bring some hardware, son.
That's right.
All right. So, and then we got some casting news earlier today.
Interesting.
In the world of Ahsoka season 2, because we all know that Ray Stevenson passed away. Gosh, it's been almost 2 years now. Yeah. In May of 2023, and he played Baylan Skoll, a former Jedi. And by the way, again, we weren't doing the show live at the time, but we both really liked Ahsoka.
Yes.
Admiral Thrawn. So how do you go on? And I appreciate the fact that on the Lucasfilm Star Wars side of things, they're not keeping the character like on a pedestal. And let me explain. Chadwick Boseman is Black Panther, but Chadwick Boseman sadly, tragically passed away at a very early age as well. When Marvel said we're not going to recast them, they really dug themselves into a creative hole for that character. But now I'm not saying that Baylan Skoll is on the cultural level of significance as Black Panther, but it's integral to the grander story to recast the character and keep the story going. So it was announced earlier today that Rory McCann, aka the Hound from Game of Thrones famously, is going to replace Ray Stevenson on season 2 of Ahsoka.
Nice.
Let's see. So I didn't realize that McCann was in Gladiator 2, which I have not seen. I didn't know or forgot that he was in Hot Fuzz. Remember Hot Fuzz?
Of course, yes.
Yes. I've seen it a couple times, but I don't remember the ins and outs of it. He was in Jumanji: The Next Level, Triple X: Return of Xander Cage, and Knuckles on Paramount Plus.
So he's been in some good movies.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty good replacement.
Yeah, that works for me definitely.
Let's see. Fred says, the Hound, he was cool. Yeah, I don't know why. Somehow you didn't say this first, Mike. You always say.
Somebody else has to sometimes.
Ahsoka season 2, Electric Boogaloo. Rostovsky says, now we're getting to my wheelhouse. Stevenson was perfect for that role, going to be a hard guy to replace, but I think this dude can handle it from what I've heard. Not a Game of Thrones guy. Game of Thrones, I'll say this. I think my biggest issue with Game of Thrones is the fact that I understand that it's not our world. It's a fictional world, but the lore, the mythos of Game of Thrones is thousands of years, span. And at no point do they ever try to evolve beyond swords and shields. Like humans, we did swords and shields for a couple hundred years, and then we're like, ooh, explosives, ooh, projectiles. What happens when we mix the projectile with the explosive? We can hit them from a longer distance. So I think I would have really appreciated, spoiler alert for when Arya Stark, knifes the Night King, but like she could have done that, with she could have sideways popped a cap in him from a distance and been safe. I just think it would have been.
I watched one season of Game of Thrones, and I think I watched a little bit of the second season, and then I just kind of fell away from it. And this is way after it had already come out. So I know I don't care about spoilers at all. Obviously, it's too long for me to care. No, I don't. That's all I'm asking. Like, I know there was dragons in it. Was there like magic spells in it?
There were.
Because in a fantasy land, that's what I want to see. I want to see. I'll take the arrows and everything, but I want some magic to it.
There wasn't a whole lot of like. I think maybe less than like Lord of the Rings, but there were magical beings there. I can't remember the Red Witch's name off the top of my head. Melissa, no, I don't know if it was Melissa. Yeah, Aaron Keene says there is magic in it, not the primary focus, though.
Yeah, okay. Yes, that's okay. That's understandable.
The Red Woman, yeah. I was going to say Lady in Red. Okay, so I wasn't terribly wrong, Melisandre. So, Fred enjoyed Game of Thrones. The last couple seasons did get weird, but it was pretty good.
I did hear that, yeah.
I think we talked about, too, because they, the creators were rushing it to jump over to Star Wars, and then they rushed it to the point, and Star Wars people looked at it like, we're changing our mind.
Yeah. I understood the last season from pitch meeting.
Right.
They were like, he was like, okay, well, we got to finish this. And he's like, the producer or whatever was like, no, we'll give you more time. We'll give you more episodes if you want. He's like, no, but there's nothing we can do. It has to be only 6 episodes or whatever. He's like, no, we'll give you. How many do you want? You want 10? He's like, I wish there was something we could do, but oh well.
I don't know if I might have to go back and find that. I don't know if I've seen it, I forgot it. I'd always like to go back and have a laugh at that stuff.
Yes.
Pitch meetings, such a great look. If you enjoy this show, you'll really like pitch meeting. First of all, it's a fraction of the time, and it's much better.
Yes.
Minnie is here. She watched Game of Thrones, thought it was pretty good. It was. I mean, and so I know we talked about this, I think, in the past. House of the Dragon, pretty good too. I watched the first season, like the couple episodes of season 2, and then I just fell away. So sometime when I have time, I will, maybe try to pick that back up. So, all right. We talked briefly, or at least mentioned briefly, Lord of the Rings here in passing, and I want to talk about Peter Jackson. Peter Jackson, of course, made Lord of the Rings, the Lord of the Rings movies, and he says he owes all of that. In fact, I guess maybe we as Lord of the Rings fans owe all of our appreciation to a 1996 cult horror comedy movie.
Okay.
Did you ever see The Frighteners, Mike?
Yes. With is it Michael J. Fox?
Yes, it is.
Okay, yes. That's a good movie. That's one of those that, like, I remember seeing it. I don't know. I didn't go to the theaters to see it. I saw it on probably VHS or DVD. I can't remember. Honestly, I want to feel like VHS. When did it come out, though?
96.
96. It could be either or, honestly. But I remember seeing that and then liking it, but then not seeing it again until probably like 5-6 years ago or something like that.
I remember the first time I watched this, being in 8th grade, freshman year, something like that, and I went and crashed at Brandon Lowe's house one night.
Okay.
And we watched Frighteners. I'd never seen it. I was like, I'm not big on horror movies. And He's like, trust me, it's fine. So
Yeah.
we watched
Yeah,
it,
same.
but I didn't know that this was a Peter Jackson movie. Like, A, I didn't know who
Yeah.
Peter Jackson was at the time, and two, you know, I never went back through Peter Jackson's filmography to see everything that he worked on. But he says in a recent interview, and this is a direct quote, I'm sourcing this from comicbook.com. One of the things that happened with the Frighteners was our own visual effects company down here in New Zealand. And I'm going to cut out the part where he says the name of the company because I'm sure I'll mispronounce it. Expanded from having one single computer to about 35 computers. I think is what we ended up with at the height of the effects on the Frighteners, and there's about 500 CG shots in the film. So they went from one computer to 35 for the Frighteners, and he says it was during the post-production on the Frighteners, everyone's feeling very stressed. We're trying to get all these 500 CG shots done, and I was coming under stress all on my own because I'm wondering, gosh, what am I going to do with all these computers when the movie's finished? So that it was about he says it was at that time, it was about November 95, while we were just in the thick of post-production, that the idea of doing a fantasy film came about. That I thought, well, what type of movie could I make that's going to need a big computer infrastructure? And the idea of doing Lord of the Rings came into my mind then, and the first phone calls about Lord of the Rings were made during post-production on the Frighteners, because I was starting to stress out about having all these computers and not going to have a film to actually use them on. So the fact that he had to upgrade his visual effects department for Frighteners may be the only reason we have the Lord of the Rings that we have love 20 some odd years later.
Yeah.
So I think it's really great. And then, gosh, I saw the comment here. When he discovered how to make ghosts realistic, that's what Aaron Rostovsky says. And I see a lot of similarities between this and like the I don't want to say Kings Under the Mountain or the Knights Under the Mountain that we get in Return of the King for the big battle. Those who have to fulfill their oath. I mean, I can see the early stages of that scene in the Frighteners. So I don't know. I just thought it was kind of fun. A little bit of trivia there that
I like it.
It goes on. I sometimes forget about Frighteners. I haven't seen it in a long time. So
let's see where it's at.
Are you going to Greggle it?
I'm going to meal it.
By the way, if you're watching this and wanting an update on the Cotton Bowl, Ohio State
nowhere.
No,
I mean you can buy it.
Oh,
but
well, who wants to do that?
Yeah.
Ohio State is leading Texas with under 4 minutes to play. Texas does have the ball. It's 21-14 Ohio State.
Nice. Go that team.
No, go neither team. Go referees.
By the way, Luigi's Haunted Mansion of movies, I'll tell you right now, I think my son would love a Luigi's Haunted Mansion movie because I think that was probably one of his favorite video games. I remember him being little. He's grown up now. Still a little littler than me, just so everybody knows. I'm definitely taller than him. But that was one that if we ever did which we might have in the past, I don't even remember, like what video game adaptation what video game to movie, I would probably put that on the list just for him.
Luigi's Haunted Mansion.
Yep. All right.
Nice. Well,
do you have your I almost said pick five. We're not doing a pick five tonight.
No, we're doing blind ranking.
Yes.
I can throw. I'm gonna do it. It's just five though, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got
five.
it. I mean, I know
we discussed before the show started.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. And these are these are blind ranking DC or Marvel characters that we want to see this year. Right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. And by the way, mine, I'm not sure if some of them, I don't know, maybe there was a cartoon that had them in it or something like that. But I'm not being too picky. Well,
And also, it's important to note that, like we can't say Reed Richards.
Right.
We can't say what's it like. These have to be like surprise appearances.
Yes.
I mean, we have the Royal Rumble coming up in a few weeks. It'd be like, so it's always a surprise to get, like the guys who aren't on the roster, be it legends or people from other companies, things like that. So,
all right.
So I have 5.
Okay, good. Do you want me to go
surprised? First? Let me give mine to you.
Okay, perfect. Okay,
because I'm also thinking we might see some duplicates.
If we do, we do.
All right, I'm gonna here's a quick. You're not gonna see them, but there's
yep.
I'm not changing the order or anything. Nope. Okay, we'll start with Moon Knight.
Ooh, Moon Knight. Like he's coming. He's coming back.
Right.
Nice. Okay, I'm gonna put Moon Knight at a 2.
Okay. How about John Constantine?
Oh gosh. Do I immediately go 1?
Only if it's Matt Ryan, right?
Well, of course. He's not a God. I'm gonna have to go 1.
That's a good one. Martian Manhunter.
I'll give him 4.
That's a pretty good one. I think I know where this next one's gonna go. Then Dead Man.
Man. Okay, he's got to be a 3.
And then that leaves probably. I don't think you'd argue with this placement. Ghost Rider.
Look, 5. By the way, I'll say I would be happy with seeing any of these guys come. Some of these for the first time. Like I've wanted to see Dead Man in live action for a long time.
Right.
Actually, honestly, since you mentioned him to me and I learned about him,
I'd even be on. It may be. I mean, we just talked about like the Peter Jackson and like the ghosts and things like that. But I just even an animated version, maybe it's more feasible.
Well, have you not? There is an animated version of him. It's in one of the Justice. It's
Justice League Dark.
Justice League Dark. Yeah. I know I've seen it. It's either in a Constantine one or a Justice League Dark. Apocalypse or some Justice League Dark Apocalypse, or there's another one. I forget. But he has been in animated, but we haven't seen him live action yet. All right, so that's I like that list. That's good. So mine technically is Constantine, Moon Knight, Dead Man, Martian Manhunter, and Ghost Rider. So again, all those good. All right, here's my list. And this I've had my list for 2 weeks now. I want to say
right. You were ready.
I haven't changed it. Okay. Starting off with Lobo.
Ooh. I'm going to go 2.
2? That's fair. Animal Man.
5.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. Yeah. Big Barda.
Go 4.
4, fair.
I'd be more interested for her husband, Mr. Miracle.
Of course, but it's Mephisto.
Oh,
finally,
gosh. Right. No, 3.
3. Okay. So your number 1, if I did my math correctly, is
torched on this.
No. Honestly, this is one I think a lot of people have been asking for. Miles Morales.
Okay, yeah. I'm perfectly fine with that.
Absolutely. I would be too. Perfect.
With the benefit of knowing the list, I would switch Barda and Mephisto.
Yeah.
I'm just reading the comments here. There's Christmas decoration conversation going on. We didn't put up a lot of Christmas decorations, but the tree is still up. I think we'll take it down this weekend.
Okay. My tree is down. Now, granted, my tree was a foot tall, I think. It's a very small one. All I had to do, I literally just put it in a garbage bag and put it in my closet. But still, it technically is down.
That's true.
You know?
It is technically down.
Yeah. In fact, all my Christmas decorations, which consisted of the one stocking that was here,
right,
which is I literally just took off right before, put there, it'll stay there, and then I had some like it's like birds and trees set up on my coffee table, and those went in a wreath, and those all went in a bowl, a big bowl that I usually used for Halloween candy, which I realized I had 3 of them because many years I would forget where it was, and I would buy a new one, and I finally found them all, and that's just in my closet right now. So,
well, you're ahead of me.
Like I said, I didn't have much to do.
Let's see. Aaron says, I had an 8-inch tree until we had kids. Then I was informed I needed more than that in my singular Homer Simpson in a Santa hat ornament.
Well, you had 8 inches and your wife said you needed more?
Not an 8-inch tree.
Oh.
I did read it the right way. Come on now.
My bad. I was like, wow.
No, we had, for a couple of years, we had 2 trees. And then when the twins came around, I was like, we can't do that anymore. Now,
yeah.
And we've been pretty well living upstairs while we had fans and dehumidifiers and things like that down here. So, most of that stuff's probably gonna be gone. I think, even Garrett's like, why do we when are we taking the tree down?
Garrett, feel free.
Right. Yeah.
Help yourself,
kid. And geez, why don't you drag the tote down here? Right. that has all the places for the ornaments. But I was like, but we've had bigger things going on. We've been trying to dry out the main floor and snow and things like that. So, great times, wonderful times. Let me tell you. Well, I think tomorrow will probably be the day we can actually maneuver around downstairs. And if we get the tree put away, we might, I don't know why, but we might find the remote for the downstairs TV.
Could be.
Because
a lot of times if I lose something, the way to find it is to clean.
It's probably under the couch. And what happened is, I know Matthew had it last. Like, I was sitting on the couch and he was sitting next to me, and then he could just kind of a little sly, although he's not nearly as like, he's just like, and smiled. And he runs off. I was like, bring that back. And he goes, and it like stuck another. But my luck is he didn't just like put it on the edge of underneath, the edge of the couch, like slid it. So we'll get move the tree and then we'll find everything else. So
perfect. All right,
Mike, anything else that is on your mind tonight, sir?
That is it for me, sir.
Well, this was fun.
Yes. We should do it again next week. No? Okay. Well, that's fine.
No, I was reading. I was trying to read a comment, but I didn't understand it. So, we should. Do you think Nolan will be available next week?
He might be. Yeah. He's not here right now. But yeah, we'll try to do the D&D thing next week.
That'd be a lot of fun
if he's available.
I want to know more about D&D, and then I want to sit down and like try to figure out how to play D&D.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Sweet. Oh, can he give us like a 10 to 15 minute like history presentation on Dungeons and Dragons about its origins and things like that?
If he is available next week, I am, unless something big comes up, I will probably have him do most of the show.
Oh, okay.
I honestly think I'll ask him how much time he needs and stuff. I think he could do a lot.
All right.
But if he only says like I got 15 minutes, then I'll fucking put him in 15 minutes.
Aaron Keen's excited.
Nice.
For a little Dungeons and Dragons talk. So, and Minnie's like me. I know nothing about D&D. I mean, I know it involves dungeons and also dragons. And they made a couple movies about it. One back in like 15, 20 years ago, or maybe even longer, with Marlon Wayans.
Yeah.
And then one a couple years ago with Chris Pine.
Yep.
But that's about all I know. And
that's it. That's perfect.
Fred would play D&D, but it seems like a lot of work and shit to learn.
I think, and he can probably tell you better. I think it's who you play with, because I've done 2 2 one-shot campaigns, which means it just takes. We did it for like 3 hours one day. in like 2 hours, several months later, and those are good. But yeah, I'll let him explain more.
Okay. And we talk like I like when Dungeons and Dragons pops up in like TV shows that I enjoy. One of the shows that you taught me about, or not taught me, told me about, Community.
Yes.
And in the later seasons, they get into some Dungeons and Dragons there. But Rostowski, real quick, reminded me about something else I want to talk about. He says, I watched the most recent movie and Stranger Things, but that's all I know. And that reminded me about the movie that I almost forgot to discuss with you on tonight's show. The movie that I watched, and I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that.
Which one?
Snake Eyes, the G.I. Joe origin movie.
Was it, well, scale of 1 to 10, what was it?
It was like a 2.5.
Okay, that's what I figured. Okay.
Here's the thing. Snake Eyes I don't hate. I'm like one of the people who doesn't hate like the original G.I. Joe movie. And I definitely don't hate the cartoon. You know, I grew up on that stuff. Snake Eyes is such a cool character.
Yes.
I think what I like so much about him in the movies prior to this is he doesn't talk.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. And there's you get in I can't remember now. I thought it was the sequel, Retaliation, but maybe it was the first one. You get his background of like how he was like the outcast kid at ninja school or whatever, you know, like he was bullied by the kid who grew up to be Storm Shadow, whatnot. But in this movie, he does a lot of talking. And the problem with Snake Eyes in the movie Snake Eyes is he's kind of an ass and not really a good guy. Like he's not a hero in the movie. And all of a sudden, in like at the end of the third act, like, what do you think? You want to be a Joe? Okay. You know, so I don't even want to tell you to watch it.
I'm not going to. I was never going to. You're completely fine. Yeah.
It's, you know, I understand why maybe that franchise died a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
But here's the thing. I really do like the G.I. Joe movie.
Okay.
I will sit there and, you know, Nanobites and Christopher Eccleston and other people. I think Channing Tatum's in it. Marlon Wayans again. You know, like for me, it's a fun movie. I'll sit there, I'll eat some popcorn, I'll have a blast. But the Snake Eyes was rough. So, but I'm trying to watch more Squid Games, and we've talked about a lot of the other shows that I'm behind on. So,
dude, okay, when you finish Squid Games season 2, we'll talk about that.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay. Anyway,
Minnie says that Greg miraculously fixed his internet for tonight's show. Yeah, last night I got kicked out of my internet a couple times, so I got dropped from the show. Fred says, yeah, Minnie, I didn't want to say anything, but Greg cares about this show more. Let that sink in.
I mean, I don't think that's true. It was odd that Greg texted me last night and said, hey, I'm going to pretend my internet's out. Don't say anything. I didn't understand it. I didn't know what was going on.
You're going to get me in trouble.
That's weird. Okay.
Thanks a lot for that. Everybody knows I care more about that because I get paid more for that.
As well you should. That's when you wear your Fred Durst hat.
Oh yeah. Should I put it on right now?
Yeah. That's how we got to end the show like this.
All right. Minnie says, Mike, you're so cool.
I mean, I don't know if you're being sarcastic or not, but thank you.
Not being sarcastic at all. Aaron says Squid Games was excellent, but I need the rest now. So apparently, maybe without giving a spoiler, that might be setting up a third season potentially.
Yeah.
Okay. It is just one of those days, Aaron.
Oh, okay. We got to end with that comment.
All right. Well, that'll do it.
That's
for
perfect.
This episode of Nerds United. We thank all of you for tuning out. Record number of viewers tonight. So thank you all for participating and come back and, you know, tell all your friends. I like to say this, if everybody brings one friend next week, we can double our numbers.
And if everybody brings 100 friends, that's even better.
And tell everybody, you know,
friends, but
I don't either. But tell everybody you know. When it comes to Nerds United, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the Nerds United YouTube channel, and ring that bell for notifications so you never miss a new show. And this is episode number 395. Mike, can you believe that?
No.
Thank you for, you make this show fun, my friend. And Minnie says, I'll bring a friend. Do they have to subscribe? Yes, they do.
Absolutely. It's illegal not to.
We've done so many more of these shows together than I ever did in all the years before that. So thank you for making this show fun and for being a reason for me to get out here and talk nerdy crap with you. So appreciate you. Appreciate all of you who hang out with us in real time, everybody who watches or listens at another time. So thank everybody. Stay safe out there. Stay warm if you are in the snow belt like we are. And we'll see you next time here on Nerds United, where we remind you each and every week to be kind
and rewind.
This is a production of the Jittery Monkey Podcast Network. For more jittery shenanigans, go to jitterymonkey.com.